My name is Lillian Hughes. Today I will be sharing my personal and leadership framing statement. I will explain what frames and reframing are, how they shape the way I think and lead, and how I plan to grow as a leader. What are frames? Frames are mental lenses that we use to interpret and understand situations. They influence how we think, how we communicate, and how we make decisions. Everyone uses frames, whether they realize it or not. In leadership, we talked about 4 main frames. The structural frame focuses on organization, goals, and efficiency. The human resource frame focuses on people, relationships, and support. The political frame involves power, conflict, and competition. Finally, the symbolic frame focuses on culture, values, and meaning. Understanding these frames is important because it helps leaders see situations more clearly and respond more effectively instead of reacting automatically. What is reframing? Reframing is the ability to shift your perspective and look in a situation in a different way. Instead of only seeing one side, reframing allows you to consider multiple viewpoints. This is especially important in leadership because challenges don't always have one clear solution. By reframing, leaders can reduce bias, improve problem solving, and become more adaptable. For me, learning about reframing showed me that leadership is not just about being right, but also about being open to different perspectives and learning from them. Personal frames, strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots. Understanding frames has helped me reflect on my own leadership style. One of my strengths is that I am very people-oriented. I naturally focus on relationships, communication, and making sure that others feel heard and included. This helps me build strong connections in teams. However, one of my weaknesses is avoiding conflict, which relates to the political frame. I sometimes struggle to speak up in uncomfortable situations or address issues directly. I tend to prioritize keeping the peace even when something needs to be said. A blind spot for me is not always recognizing power in politics in organizations. I tend to focus on people and fairness and less on influence or competition, which can sometimes limit my awareness to certain situations. Personal frames, communication, and decision making. My communication style is supportive and collaborative. I try to listen carefully and make sure others feel heard. This reflects my strength in the human resource frame. When it comes to decision making, I am very thoughtful. I like to consider different perspectives before making a choice. However, this can sometimes turn into hesitation, especially when I don't want to disappoint others. One example of this is during group projects. I often take the role of keeping everyone involved and making sure everyone agrees, but sometimes this slows down the decision-making process. Through this class, I've realized that effective leadership requires both collaboration and confidence in making decisions. I am adaptable though, and I can adjust my approach depending on the situation. This is something that I do want to continue improving on though. Frames in organizational leadership. In organizations, all 4 frames are important and used in different situations. The structural frame helps leaders create clear roles, expectations, and goals. Without it, organizations can become disorganized. The human resource frame focuses on supporting and motivating people, which builds trust and teamwork. The political frame reminds us that conflict and competition are natural, and leaders must learn how to navigate power and advocate for their ideas. The symbolic frame focuses on culture, values, and creating meaning, which helps people feel connected in the organization. Understanding all four frames helps leaders become more effective because they can approach situations from multiple perspectives instead of just relying on one. Reframing for leadership. Reframing is what allows leaders to move between these different perspectives. It often helps resolve conflict by understanding different viewpoints instead of reacting emotionally. It can also lead to better decision making because leaders consider more options. Most importantly, it increases flexibility and growth. For me, reframing has changed the way I think about challenges. Instead of seeing them as problems, I can start to see them as opportunities to learn and improve as a leader. My leadership focus. My strongest leadership frame is the human resource frame. I value relationships, teamwork, and making sure people feel supported. This is a strength I want to continue building on. At the time, my biggest area for growth is the political frame. I want to become more confident in handling conflict, speaking up for myself, and making decisions even when they are difficult. This class has helped me realize that being a good leader is not just about being nice or supportive, it is also about being confident, making tough decisions, and being willing to step into uncomfortable situations when necessary. Conclusion. In conclusion, understanding frames has helped me better understand myself and how I approach leadership. It has shown me that the way I see situations directly impacts how I respond to them. Reframing has taught me to be more open-minded, adaptable, and willing to grow. Moving forward, my goal is to become a more balanced and confident leader by combining my strengths and relationships with stronger decision-making and confidence in challenging situations. Overall, this process has helped me develop a clearer sense of who I am as a leader and who I want to become in the future. Thank you.